The farther our history goes, the more real the nuclear end of the world becomes real. But the people who caused the tragedy won't be destroyed because they have special Judgment Day planes for that case. They'll be able to survive in the air as well as command entire armies using satellite connections. How many apocalypse planes are there in the world? Can they really protect their passengers? And most importantly, can normal people count on a similar air shelter? You'll learn the answers to these questions very soon. Actually, the subject of nuclear war is being discussed more and more among the world's elite, and no matter what you think, you must be prepared for it. That's what plane designers from advanced countries thought, so they created real flying fortresses. These planes have equipment to be refueled in the air. With periodic refueling, they could stay in the air for a week or more. That'd be enough time to survive the most dangerous moments or fly a sufficient distance. The total time these planes can stay airborne is limited only by the engines, which unfortunately can't be replaced mid-flight. Of course, not every country has Judgment Day planes, and many countries are hurriedly developing their own air fortresses because of recent world events. But let's talk about the ones that currently exist. We'll start with the American Boeing E-4B Nightwatch. This beauty served as the beginning of the so-called end-of-the-world planes. They're designed for the President, Secretary of Defense, and other members of the U.S. government in case of the onset of nuclear war, when all ground-based government structures will be destroyed or at least damaged. By the way, their other name, Flying Command Point, completely describes the role of these aircraft, and the Boeing wasn't chosen for this honorable role without reason. It's large, make that huge. It has an interior working space of 4,600 square feet. Just imagine how many people you could fit into this giant. As far as the specific E-4 model goes, 4 of them were originally built and later modified to the E-4B. The differences include improved protection from alpha, beta, and gamma radiation, reinforced instruments, as well as a large shield that contains the satellite antenna. If you believe the data from classified sources, Nightwatch can stay in the air for an entire week if it's refueled. 2 KC-135 refueling planes are needed to refuel the huge fuel tanks on the E-4B. Of course, during a nuclear war, not even one refueling is guaranteed. To make that opportunity possible, similar refuelers are located at almost every U.S. airport and are always ready for takeoff. Formally, the airtime is limited only by the oil in the engines. The plane's design itself is extremely interesting. Almost all of the interior had to be significantly changed and modified to provide the maximum protection. The upper deck was moved to the lower part and the crew's room was raised, for example. The latter includes 4 workstations for the crew, engineer, and others. And if someone gets tired, they can use the sleeping quarters in the rear. There's a middle deck for passengers below the crew's room, which is the largest part of the plane. So how many people could be in this protected fortress? Considering part of the plane is occupied by equipment, up to 144 people can fit inside. And they all need to be fed. So the nose portion has a kitchen with stoves and fridges to store food, so the people won't get hungry even on long flights. As you can see, they took care of comfort on these planes fairly well. After the front zone is the NCA zone, which is for the U.S. President, Secretary of Defense, and others who are to replace them according to law to work and relax. It has a work zone, a rest point, sleeping places, and a changing room. They also made sure communications were reliable and secure and installed powerful telephone equipment so the President will always be able to contact any command structure or other government locations. There's also a meeting room where emergency meetings can be called and displayed using a projector. If it's too boring, maybe you could watch a movie in there. The next location is the workplaces for operational reaction. As I mentioned, the plane is also an airborne command point. So there's also a room with 29 workstations, data analysis and transmission equipment, onboard computers, and whatever else would be necessary to command the military. A special device provides access to telecoms and radio channels and direct lines, as well as a sound recording device. But that's not all. The most important thing on the Boeing E-4B is the satellite communication zone that replaces the Pentagon. Just imagine you could command the entire U.S. Army from here. This plane's much more dangerous than any fighter, and it doesn't even have any weapons. But America isn't the first country to make planes for the end of the world. The USSR had many planes with similar functions. Back in 1971, the IL-22 was released, which was modified and improved many times. But I won't give it attention since it was originally designed for simple air transport. The first real airborne command point was the IL-80. Its main quirk was its ability to maintain a connection with the Army at a distance twice as large as Russia. It's not a satellite connection, but it's good. Its appearance is recognizable because of its hump on the top. It's conceptually very similar to the E-4B, and not just in appearance. Originally, it was designed to evacuate the top military commanders to preserve simultaneous command to the armed forces. That includes a nuclear conflict. The plane has everything it needs for those on board to feel safe and relatively comfortable. Unfortunately, it's impossible to provide specific details on the IL-80 because of secrecy, and Russian plane designers don't like to reveal nuances. However, we did manage to find some details. First, the IL-80 stands apart because of its extreme reliability, since the odds of having equipment malfunction is 10 times less than other military aircraft. That's because the strongest and most reliable parts were used to create it. The plane has about as much interior space as the American E-4B. A small difference is in the flight distance and speed, where the Boeing is superior in both. But Russia doesn't plan on stopping and is developing new airborne command points. They'll make them using the IL-96-400M as a base. It's much larger and more spacious than the previous and is technologically superior in every way. The Giant will be able to communicate with strategic aircraft, stealth, and mine launch stations, as well as with submarines. And it'll be able to do it in an area twice as large as Russia. Compared to its predecessor, the IL-96 will be able to fly twice as far. When creating this new plane, they used only domestic parts and equipment, which the designers are extremely proud of. America also understands that their flying fortresses aren't getting any younger and will soon need to be replaced. In 2018, the Pentagon announced modernizations to the Boeing E-4B. The main goal is to update all the apparatus and improve the programming, install new national communication systems, communications with nuclear forces, and overall everything else on the plane. Starting in 2021, at least $100 million will be spent on modernizing, and judging by recent data, this number will significantly rise due to world events. We really hope these planes will never be used and they'll only be flown during military parades. However, it's interesting to think what would happen if they met each other in the air. The video's coming in for a landing. You can support the channel by leaving a like if you enjoyed the video. Also, you can leave a comment saying what you thought. We love to read what you write for us. Thanks for watching, and until next time.